Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back in War Thunder having a look at the sales which are going on. In this video we'll cover Britain and also Italy, since they have not a ton of vehicles, so it's better just to do them kind of in one place. So let's start off with the Challenger DS, which is on sale for Britain. Challenger DS is a great rank 7 premium vehicle. Basically all of the NATO premium vehicles are at 10.7 at rank 7, and this one I would say generally is one of my favorites, just because it has a slightly more unique playstyle than the other ones that you run into, stuff like the 2A4, stuff like the Abrams, and I know it's not something that everybody will be into. I'll just change it from Ground Arcade so you don't think this thing has a 2,000 horsepower engine. But basically, what this vehicle does well is it does all of the standard kind of British MBT stuff well. So it has a good penning round. It has the really nice standard reload with the first few shells that you fire, the 4-piece first stage ammo stowage, which will out-reload most things that you will actually face, apart from Abrams's nowadays. It has the good gun depression, it has the nice turrets with the good survivability, and also it has access to the smoke grenades, which just give it a little bit more. Basically, what you're getting here is the standard Challenger experience, so if you like the Challenger 1, you will enjoy this vehicle. At 10.7, you have an insane lineup nowadays when it comes to Britain. You have all of the AAs, and then also you have the Vickers, the Challies, and then also the Desert Warrior, and even the TTD is a bit of support too. And also the Bishmar, which gives you something slightly different to run as a vehicle. So for me, I really like this one. I think it's fantastic to play, just like a lot of the Challengers, and I think it's underrated because people just generally don't like the mobility of it. You also have the L26 round, which is very good for the BR. You have the Gen 1 thermals, so you have everything else you would want. I would honestly say this is probably the pick out of the British ones right now. The Wyvern is also on sale, and what can I say about this vehicle? It's the fastest vehicle at its BR. It has a crazy armament, not just in the form of the cannons, but also in the form of its secondaries. It basically has a bunch of rockets, has a bunch of bombs that you can bring in. So in ground, it's a menace, and in good old naval, it's a menace too. You also get some funny rockets, which you'll probably never use, but they're also pretty unique. The Red Angels, which are kind of like the anti-ship rockets, that may be a bit more useful in the future. But the main reason you play something like this is in air, you get an air spawn, and you get a lot of guns, you get a lot of speed, so you can either go dogfight and just annihilate stuff, or you can just take ground targets and not really worry about things and just get a lot of reward while doing it, which is what most people do. It's also great for like grinding events, for example, because you are really fast, so you can just spawn in, hammer everything, and then just kind of leave the battlefield, which is what a ton of people do. And then also you have the Armstrong Siddeley Python 3, which runs a contra prop, which let's just be honest, it's really cool. Like it looks really nice, and generally I would say it's pretty awesome. But the vehicle is way lower in BR than it should be. It did recently get increased in BR to where it is better off, but that's after it got decreased in BR to a place where it definitely shouldn't have been. You also have the MiG-21 Bison that is on sale. So this, to me, is a really, really nice vehicle. It has a lot of good kind of statistics to it. It also has some pretty fun camos like this one, which I generally think is really nice. And obviously it has the holiday one, but I don't think you can get this one anymore. But basically what this vehicle is a MiG-21 BIS that has been souped up to give it better weapons and also better electronics. And one of the things about the BIS is the engine that it has. Like this one, it has the Turmansky R25-300. The engine it has is too powerful for the airframe, right? So the engine at 110% will literally just pull the airframe apart. So the lower BR MiG-21 BISs feel incredibly fast because they're basically faster than anything else that you can kind of fight. And the Bison kind of keeps that going at 12.3, but it now faces a lot of other stuff which also have much better engines. But it still feels like you have a lot of power under the hood because of the fact that the engine is so powerful with the general airframe. And the big upgrade that you get, so you get the Kopyo 21 radar, which is very good. And then also you get the Terang RWR, which has a lot of stuff to it too, which makes it very enjoyable. And then you have the armaments, the air-to-air ones. So basically what you run on this thing is you get two R73Es. These are the export variants of the R73. They have IRCCM, which means they're very hard to flare off, especially from a rear aspect. Then you get the R27T1s, which are the big old IR missiles, which you can fire at people if you really feel like it. And then also you have the radar versions, the R27R1s, which are also really, really powerful on the vehicle. So basically, you can run a vehicle which doesn't have a lot of weaponry, but is insanely powerful for the weaponry that it has. So what this vehicle kind of comes down to is, are you able to efficiently use 4 missiles, 2 semi-actives, or 4 IRs, basically? Can you, as a player, can you work out when it is right to engage people with these missiles? And if you're able to do that, you'll walk away with 2, 3, 4 kills without even thinking every single time. If you are a person who can't do that, then you probably need more of a missile bus, something like an F4, for example, or even the Hornets, which this thing will face all the time because the premium Hornets at 12.7. So can this thing be super useful? Yes, but it is limited by its armament in terms of it doesn't have a lot of it, even if that armament itself is really good. So that kind of has to be up to you. Are you a person who can efficiently use these missiles? And if you can, then great, you should do it. If you are a person who isn't as familiar with semi-actives, isn't as familiar with radar, and also radar locking and how all those mechanics work, this vehicle isn't going to work for you, and you're just going to get frustrated. So you have to be very careful with this one. It isn't just a one-size-fits-all kind of shoe, this one. The Panzerhaubitze 2000 for Hungary in the Italian tech tree is also on sale. The Panzerhaubitze is really good and really fun. It's a vehicle that I'm kind of surprised hasn't gone up in BR more to something like 8.0 because it just has a ton of really fantastic pieces to it. First of all, highly mobile engine with 1,000 horsepower, powered by an insane transmission, which means that you can go forward and you can go back really well. So getting in and out of dodge is really easy to do with this thing. Also, at the same time, you have the 5-second reload, which is just nuts. Like, it basically means that you can just keep firing rounds, even when you run out of your first stage, which this thing doesn't have a massive first stage. Like, it's a pretty tiny one. It's only 2 pieces. I think the reload rate still only goes up to like 6.5 seconds. So you'll still out-reload the vast majority of things that you'll face, even without the first stage ammo stowage. And then also at the same time, you have, of course, the massive amount of crew that's in the turret, and also all of this kind of space that's in the bottom here, because generally you don't take this amount of ammunition, and also this is kind of the inner head, where you have like the charge at the back, which is the bit that explodes. So the thing that makes this thing higher BR than a lot of SPHs, it has a laser rangefinder, and this means that you can always be accurate with the rounds that you're using. It also gets a 155mm OEF3, which is an interesting shell, but I think it's just better to use the M107PF. Nowadays, there's actually a control that you can use, where this, you can either change it to a radio fuse, or you can change it to an impact fuse. So you don't actually have to run the standard M107 or switch rounds before you actually fire, which is really cool. So you can just kind of have these, and then just switch what its fuse head is, and you'll have a great time. You also have smoke grenades to be able to reposition, and once again, insane mobility on this vehicle, which is what makes it really nice compared to a lot of other SPHs. Many SPHs have the problem where they just cannot move around quick enough. They cannot get the turret moved quick enough, but this thing isn't that, because its kind of transmission just means it's powered all around the place, and it's just super fun to generally use. So out of all the SPHs, if you're a fan of them, this one is easily the best, and it's in the nicest BR, and it works the best. So I would highly recommend playing this thing. You know, you don't have to buy the Hungarian one. You can just play it in the German tech tree. If you want a grinder for Italy, might be better options like the MCTA, but this one will also be very fun. The good old Ghibli is also on offer for Italy. This one is kind of an odd one. So I played this a little bit. I never really got along with it. It's obviously a vehicle that does well in its role. You know, it has the Defers, it has the Piranhas, which are a unique air-to-air missile that I don't think you'll actually find anywhere else. They're an all-aspect missile which have insane overloads. They just don't have an IRCCM, so it's really easy to flare it. But generally, you'll be able to do quite a lot with this. The other thing and the reason to purchase this is basically this right here. So the only reason to buy the Ghibli is because it can be a very effective CAS aircraft, because you have the Lizard guided bombs. These, along with the Lightning II targeting pod that this thing has, basically means that you can just go to space at, you know, the BR that it finds itself, and then just drop these on, you know, unsuspecting victims, and you can just have a really good time with it. Just, you know, killing stuff as you go. So you can use this at 11.3 along with a bunch of other Italian vehicles in the tech tree and get into this. And as long as there isn't a crazy AA, you can just get above it, and then you can just keep dropping bombs on people over and over again. That's the basic use of this. And if you get that scenario, it works really well. But if you're looking for something to like grind through the standard tech tree or do something like that, this isn't going to be it, because it isn't, you know, your standard grinder. Something like the MiG-21 Sniper might be that, the Ariete in air if you're, you know, good at turning, or the G55S is one that you can use that with, but the Ghibli is not going to be that. The Ghibli is just strictly nowadays more of a CAS aircraft where you can just do quite a lot with the bombs. That's basically why its rewards are so high. It's because in stuff like Air Realistic, it's just not really that useful. So you basically use it to grind in either sim, or you use it in ground. Otherwise, it's not going to be too good for you. As always though, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.